Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Sabbath to you. This morning, I am going to tell you a story about a very famous man, a very famous bicycle rider. As you can see, there's some bicycles behind me. I hope you have a bicycle. If not, maybe you can borrow one and learn to ride on these beautiful fall days that we're having. But this morning, I've got the bicycles. I've got a very bright shirt on so that people can see me when I'm out riding. I've got my helmet. You always want to make sure you have your helmet on and that you have it all clipped up so it doesn't fall off. Make sure it fits really well. And when you go ride, you got to be safe. You got to use your head. So this morning, my story for you is about a famous bicycle rider, racer, that was born in October, but a long, long time ago. He was born actually in October 1885. He lived to be almost 102 years old and passed away in 1987. Now, his name was Gustaf Hakansson. Gustaf Hakansson. Famous. He was famous in Sweden. In Sweden is where he rode his bicycle. It's where he lived. He was a bus driver, and he liked to ride his bike, just like I have a job, but I like to ride my bike. And anyway, when he was 66 years old, 66, he decided that he wanted to enter a bicycle race that went all the way across Sweden. Now, Sweden is a country that is very much north and south, a skinny country, but it goes north and south. It's very long. And it was the race from one end of Sweden to the other, and it was almost 1,100 miles. That's a long, long way. To give you an idea, if you were here in Charlotte and you wanted to go 1,100 miles just straight like a bird flies, that would get you to San Antonio, Texas. 1,100 miles would get you out midway across Nebraska. 1,100 miles would take you farther north than the very tip edge of Maine, all the way up into like New Brunswick into Canada. 1,100 miles is a very, very long way. Well, Gustaf showed up to do the race, and the race officials said he could not do the race. He was too old. The race cutoff for age was 40 years old, and Gustaf was 66. But he really wanted to race. He brought his bicycle, and he was ready to go. The race started, and the racers took off. Gustaf got a marker or pen, some kind of paint, whatever, and painted a 0 on his chest because he wanted to be a racer, and racers had to have a number to identify them. And so he put a 0 on his chest, and he started pedaling on his bike, following the race. Not really as a racer, but following the racers on his bike as if he was. Well, he pedaled and he pedaled and he pedaled and he pedaled. And at one point during this endurance race, the 1,100 miles, he pedaled for 3 days without sleeping. Now, he would stop. He would stop when he got tired, and he would eat something. He would have something to drink. You know, you have to stay hydrated. If he got tired, he would rest. But 3 days without sleep, pedaling through the night and during the day, and just going and going and going, all the way across Sweden. When he finished the race, 1,100 miles. He did it in 6 days, 14 hours, and 20 minutes. A full 24 hours ahead of the first actual biker racer. A full day. At 66 years old, he beat the racers by an entire day. The next day, as the actual racers were finishing the endurance race, the King of Sweden met with Gustaf to congratulate him on his amazing accomplishment. During the race, the media got a hold of the story that this 66-year-old man on his regular little bicycle was racing across Sweden and beating the endurance racers, and they began calling him Stallfarfar, which means the steel grandpa. I thought that was pretty cool, the steel grandpa. Maybe one day if I keep riding, maybe I can be the Stallfarfar, the steel grandpa, at least for my family. But this was pretty interesting, and I felt like, you know, what it taught me was, if God blesses you with a talent, whether that's riding a bicycle or singing or drawing pictures or doing math or being kind to others or taking care of pets, whatever your talent is, if God blesses you, you can use it to His glory, and you can do amazing things that the regular people, the media, those around you might not even think are possible. But for Gustaf, it was possible with God's help. And he did it. In fact, he turned his fame from this race into a way to minister to other people. He became a musician. Well, he was a musician, but he was able to use his fame to record Christian songs in Sweden, and was known at one point as the oldest recording star of Sweden. And he just continued to ride and ride and ride and ride. His last bicycle rides were in his last years of life. Once he was past 100 years old, he was still pedaling. In fact, his wife lived to be 105, and she was very active as well. So, as I've been telling this story, and you've been seeing some pictures of Gustaf, remember, it's what God puts inside of you, your desire to do something great for Him, and He will bless you, and with His blessings, you can do it. God loves you, I love you, and I hope you have a fantastic Sabbath.